Hi, it's Brad, and welcome to another video in the bitB video training series. Today I'm going to show you how to upgrade your client server environment, and really we're focusing on the server itself. So in order to use a new version of bitB on the server, you need to upgrade the bitB API.dll and the bitB service file. So let's show you how to do that. So the one thing you want to do is download those files in advance. All right, so you'll see here that I downloaded them and I put those files in my download directory, okay? And they're in this folder right here. Now, most files from bitB, when you download them, will have the version number and the date. It's actually, the date is inside the version number. So if you look at this file here, for example, the bitB API DLL, you'll see that we have 3.2112.601.1244. 3 is the version, 2112 is the year 2021. The 12 is the month, the 6 is the day, the 1 is the number of builds for that day, and 1244 is a branch. So this is if it was 1 or .1, that means it is a main release. And if it's another number besides that, it's a branch for either a fix or for a feature, for an improvement, a feature or an improvement, okay? So these are both from the 1244 branch. All right, so the first thing we want to do is actually let's copy and paste these files and rename them, because we can't use them like this. We have to take the version number off before we can use those files. So let's just take this guy, boom, right here. All right, and this is not going to say copy in here. Okay, so there's the DLL is done, and now let's do the service. Okay, and there's the service. Okay, so both files are now renamed. What we want to do first is stop some services. Okay, so the way that bitB server runs is it uses an API to build an API pool to build a website. So the first thing I do is I go up here and I just stop the whole web service. So I'm going to actually stop the web service. Okay, and you'll see that down here that it's stopping. And then I'm also going to stop the bitB service. Now the bitB service is what is run when there's no clients open. It acts as a client and works with the server. So I'm going to stop this also, which is the bitB service. Okay, so once both of those are stopped, I'm going to copy these files over to the proper directory. Now on this server, we actually installed bitB server on the E drive. Yours might be on the C drive. Just locate program files, QoS networking, bitB server. Okay. And in the bin directory, those are where the two files are right now. And if you want to check the version, you can just hover over the version here and check it. And actually it'd be a good idea. So this one is running 21.11.302.1. So it's a main release. What I'm actually going to do is copy these two files back to the download directory. And I'm going to put them in a folder too, just because I'll have them, and in case anything happens, I could always replace them. Okay, so let's do okay, and we'll put my two files in there. Perfect. Okay, so now let's go back and get these two files again. Copy those, get back over to my program directory, go in here and replace my files. And yes, we want to replace those. So now if I hover over those files, you'll see the version is changed to the newest version, which I just copied down to my server. Okay. So now that both files are here and I have the right version on here that matches there we go. So they're both right. I'm going to restart my web server. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here and start this back up. And it starts up rather quickly. And then the first check you need to do is you need to go to the actual bitB API website, click on it, and go over here and do Browse 443. If everything is working correctly from the API standpoint, it'll respond with a dialog, as you'll see here in a second. that says API running. Okay, so now we know the API is running. Now what we need to check is make sure the bitB service is running. So we're going to go in here and start the service. You can see it's not running right now, so let's start the service. Okay, and now the bitB service is running. One final check. So those are the two things you have to do, is start the website back up and the service. But now we're going to check the service log and just make sure there's no errors in the service log. So we're going to go to %program data. Okay, and we're going to go to QoS networking and look at this services log file. Go to the very end, Control Home or Control End, and this is exactly what you should see. You should see a on start begin, initialize service, login successful, initialize timers, and on start end. That means everything's running fine. The other way you could tell it's running fine is there should be no events after this. If there was a problem, you could see something like, well, here I just went back to the very beginning, there was an error message here. You'll see it continually log. But when you see this and it's the end, on start end, everything looks good, you're good to go. So the final check, let's go to a client and make sure that a client can actually connect to the server. So I'm going to start up a client now. And you can run an older client with a newer server. You really should not run a newer client with an older server because then that newer client might have features and capabilities that the server doesn't have. But it's always okay to run a older client with a newer server. And you'll actually get prompted if you try to run a newer client with an older server. It'll ask you if you really want to do it. That's something you should talk to support about before doing. Okay, so let's connect to server. So we're going to go to Preferences, select Client Server. Now you might just be running the client server version, or I'm sorry, the client version, which is just a client version, not a standalone version. So that option's not going to pop up. It's always going to prompt you for the server. So I already have connected to the server before, so I have my credentials in here, and I just say login. And if I log in properly, then everything's good. And the other thing I look for down here is to make sure I got a little green dot for the bitB service. And that's it. So now you've upgraded your server and you're good to go. So I hope this video helped you. If you have any questions, definitely let us know. But thank you for taking the time to listen to videos and have a great day.